Break Fix Podcast is all about capturing the living history of people from all over the autosphere, from wrench turners and racers to artists, authors, designers, and everything in between. Our goal is to inspire a new generation of petrolheads that wonder, how did they get that job or become that person? The road to success is paved by all of us because everyone has a story.
I don't know how many times I've been getting ready for a presentation and someone has leaned over to me in a conference room and said, "Isn't that the GTI plaid?" Or, "Where did you get those socks?" Because let's face it, socks are the new tie. Portugal-based Heel Tread is a unique brand of socks that draws its inspiration from motorsports and aircraft. Their collection pays tribute to some of the world's most renowned automotive icons. And so, with us today is Gonçalo Henriques, head of sock affairs at Heel Tread, to talk to us about one of our favorite fashionista accessories, socks. Welcome to Break Fix, Gonçalo.
Thank you.
So I have to say, many of us here at GTM, myself included, have been wearing Heel Tread gear for many years, and we absolutely love it. I happen to be wearing my Senna socks today.
Oh, cool.
So let's talk about the inspiration behind the brand. What's the origin story of Heel Tread?
Well, actually, the first idea was to do socks with no drawings on it. So I'm 43. When I launched the brand, I was 40. I love colorful socks with bold patterns and colors, but the market only showed us pineapples, cherries, and things that only kids should wear. And I'm not comfortable doing that. So that was the first idea. So socks are the new ties, as you told, and there's a big market to explore. But then my partner, João, just got in the project, and we are two real big petrol heads, motorbikes, cars, everything. So the thing is, there's so much color and so much patterns and so many liveries that we can inspire on that we wanted to do our first collection inspired by cars, only the first collection. And the thing worked so well. Okay, this deserves a brand just for this. And the options are infinite. So there's so many cool cars, and every year there's so many new cars that are launched. So we have, let's say, material to work for 10, 15, 20 years. So there's a big market. So that was the first idea, socks without drawings, and then socks inspired by cars.
So what was the first design produced by Heel Tread?
Well, the first two ones were the Porsche RSR, the Martini livery, and the E30 with the BMW Motorsports ones. It was the easiest ones, and actually still one of the best sellers today.
It just happens to be similar thread colors too, so that made it kind of easy to change the design, huh?
Yeah, and the stripes of the E30 are just so easy to do. It's our coolest sock. I love them. I still love them. I still wear them every time I have the opportunity.
Before we dive a little bit deeper and geek out on the Heel Tread designs and whatnot, let's tell our audience what kind of products that Heel Tread offers. Is it just socks? Is there something else? Are there other themed items?
For now, we offer socks, regular socks and low socks. We launched last year a polo line. We have 3 polo designs. We launched also a key ring collection. We are now on the fine tuning of launching some underwear and potentially sunglasses. So any tips on that would be really good. And if you have any ideas, you can share with us, just drop us an email, and all feedback is very important for us.
Going back and talking about the designs a little bit, what were your top 3 favorite designs of all the ones that you've put out so far?
Actually, one is the GTA, the Alfa Romeo. It's not one of our top sellers, but I just love the details of all the headlights and the grille and the colors of the sock. They're really cool. For the 930 pack, the plaid seats, we just got one that was a tartan from Magnus Walker that he used in one of his cars. And
was that the Pasha socks?
No, not the Pasha. It's a 930 pack inspired on the plaid seats that got out on the 930 Turbo for the first time. And there's 5 or 6. And we got one that's not period correct. Sorry for all the purists, but we just got it from Magnus Walker. And it's a really yellow, blue, green, very cool pattern. And the socks are really amazing. Actually, they're my favorites. Yeah.
Because the Pasha ones, a lot of people don't realize are Porsche inspired as well. Those come from the 928, if I recall.
Exactly. And there's some other crazy, the Pasha, the Pepita. We have a category, just seats. We have the seats from the first M3 also, the Roof City one, the Yellowbirds. So there's so many cool patterns from seats that we can be inspired in that, and that's endless also.
The GTA, the Alfa Romeo, the Tartan Pack from Magnus Walker. Is there a third favorite in their top three?
I also love, actually, it's not my idea, but the VMAX socks from the arcade game from
Outrun.
Outrun, yeah. The Outrun socks are really cool. I actually love them. I forgot the pink pig because they are my daughter's favorite. She's always asking when I'm wearing the pink pig socks because she loves pink. Yeah, actually, it's a fun story. We launched the pink pig. We weren't very confident about the success. And I actually have a bet with my partner. We have a very expensive dinner. And if we sold, I don't recall how many pairs in the first day, the one who lost would pay a dinner to the other one. And by noon, we already broke that record. So it was a real success. So the Pink Pig, it's actually not a that famous car, but we actually love them. It has a very cool story behind it. I think every car that has a very cool story behind it has a space on our collection.
Funny you mentioned that because I know a bunch of people in our organization that did order those socks. And additionally, Porsche resurrected that livery a couple of years ago in the 911 RSR. So I think your timing was perfect because people were seeing that car at Le Mans and IMSA races, etc. So I think it was actually right on the nose.
We were lucky. Yeah, we were lucky.
Do these favorite designs coincide with your personal favorite vehicles? If not, what are your top three favorite cars?
I'm a big Porsche fan. Actually, my favorite car, the car that I had as a poster when I was a kid, was a 993 4S Turbo Look. That's my favorite car. They're now very expensive. My favorite supercar is the McLaren F1. It's the only supercar I like. Actually, if I would be very, very rich, I would be ordering a new Gordon Murray car, the T50. The Gordon Murray T50, it's so cool. And I think they're going to launch a simpler version with less aero because he has a big fan and it's a crazy supercar. A simple one, just a V12 natural aspirated. That's the kind of cars I really love. I love the Alpha, the GTA, the Alphaholics one. For me, it would be a dream car also.
That's the new EV Alpha, correct? The retro
No. It's a retro mod. It's not the EV. It's one done by Alphaholics. It's about 300 horsepower. It costs 200,000 euros or more than that. There's a new one, an EV, not from the same guys. These are British guys. There's a very cool Chris Harris video that you need to see on YouTube of him driving the Alphaholics. And actually, there's a Top Gear episode that they went back and got the car from the last season. So it's a really resto mod purist, rear end drive, manual shift, and just big engine.
Awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's
so do you go to the track? Do you have a race car or anything like that?
No. Oh, okay. Actually, I love cars. I love riding them on the streets, or I'm not a track guy. My biggest motorsport hobby is just off-roading, dirt biking. That's the biggest fun you can have with the lowest risk of getting injured. I did some track days. We sponsored a Caterham and I did a 3-day course or training. And actually it was a lot of fun. I like drifting. I'm not the guy with a stopwatch just wanting to shave half a second every lap. I like to have fun driving cars, to drift, to do something different. That's why I like more off-road, that you can do more of that. You cannot go rallying in the streets. It's too complicated. So off-roading is the only thing available to do that kind of riding, of driving.
Even though, is there one race car or maybe two that you would just turn over everything to get behind the wheel of? Is it an Alfa Romeo? Like the 155? I would love to be in the DTM car.
It would be a rally car. I think it would be the Quattro, or I think it would be an Integrale or a Subaru, the Colin McRae one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Actually, I think it would be definitely. There's one car I would give everything to have. The last Singer 911, the off-road one with Tuttle Porsche. I would sell everything. Do you know the movie where it's actually I don't know if it's Tuttle or Tuttle Porsche. The CEO that's driving the car in the beach and everything. That's what I would love to do. That's awesome. The coolest. That's the coolest thing I saw in the last 10 years. That's my kind of car. Yeah, actually, I love everything: the livery, the colors, the noise. That's it.
And we got to get socks to go with it, right? So, we always say petrol heads of a certain age, and we're in that similar age range where, Group B was a thing when we were growing up, when other certain supercars, we weren't in the Miura generation, but we were in the Countach and the F40 generation, the 959, cars like that. What do you think of those cars? Because you said you only like the McLaren F1. What are your thoughts on those kind of iconic of the period supercars?
I like the 959. It's a very cool technological essay. I don't think it's a pretty car. The F40 is just the F40. That's should be on a museum. But Cars should be driven. I think it's so stupid that you have a very expensive car and you don't drive it. It doesn't make sense. But actually, they're not my favorite generation. Maybe I'm a little bit younger because I was a motorcycle guy until I was 16. I only like bikes. And then the car passion just went on from there. And when I started driving. So those cars are my passion, not my age, but my passion. So, but
Nice.
I love the Countach as I remember when I was a kid, I saw a Lamborghini, the LM200, the off-road one at the beach here in Portugal. And I was just standing there for 5 minutes and saying, what the fuck is this? And it was more hardcore than a Humvee. And it was
Exactly.
20 years before. And it was a red one. Some things you don't forget. I remember where it was parked in the beach. It's still a beach I still go to. And it was just an unbelievable car. And that's so
with
cool.
you
And
there.
that's Lamborghini.
I saw a white one in person, and the same thing. You're just like, what am I looking at exactly? And then you realize the Humvee, I think, took some of its inspiration from that Lamborghini.
Sure.
So since we're talking about that, what do you think is the sexiest car of all time?
It needs to be the Alfa Romeo, the 33 Stradale. I think that's just an artwork with rubber. It's so beautiful from every point of view.
I am starting to see a theme here. You're very much an Alfa Romeo fan, which speaks to me personally. I am very much as well. So that's very, very cool. So let's flip that on its nose. And since you're in the EU, you're over in Portugal. What's the ugliest car in your opinion?
Gotta be the Fiat Multipla. Yeah, I know it's a repeated card, but for me, we don't have the Pontiac Aztek. I think that should be the one from the US.
Yeah, the US equivalent of the Multipla, exactly.
Yeah, some strange things that got imported from the US here. So the Chrysler, I don't remember the name. They're really, really ugly. But on top of it, they were rare here in Europe. So it was a strange sweet and sour thing. So they are so different. They could be cool, but they are really ugly at the same time.
So you're not going to make any ugly socks anytime soon, huh?
No.
Maybe as a gag.
Maybe as a gag. We have a thing. The socks that we do need to be beautiful, even if you don't have a relationship with the car. They need to be socks that you find cool. So we always sometimes tweak our designs or just go a little bit off from the car to make the sock a cool sock. So there's no ugly socks.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I'm thinking of doing a black sock for the F-117, the Stealth Fighter. It's going to be all black sock. I think it's going to be our joke for this year. Let me see.
That'd be pretty funny. I mean, I'm with you there. The socks that draw my attention the most aren't necessarily the ones that I associate with the most. Now, for instance, the Land Rover ones, the Series 2 socks, I love those. I like wearing those around. Those get people's attention. They're very subtle, light green with that squarish pattern.
Yeah.
The other one is the 911 RSR, the old 72, 73 early car, short nose 911. Those are real popular. And the GTI ones always get people's attention because they're like, oh, that's a very specific tartan type of pattern. And, it really gets people's...
The GTI was our best seller. It still is our best seller by far. So the GTIs are really, really cool. The thing is, when we launched, it was not on our first collection. And we got about 10 comments every day, do GTI socks, do GTI socks, do. And we took about 3 months to do that. And when we did, it was crazy because it's a very, very hard pattern to knit. It's a very concentrated pattern, not that easy to produce. So it needed a lot of production effort. But now that we did it, it's really, really cool.
So is it more difficult with designs that require a logo? Do you have to get permission for that sort of stuff? Like, how does that process work when you're doing the design of the socks?
We don't have many official socks. We have official collaborations with some brands. We don't like to put logos on the socks. That's merchandising socks. If you want a Ferrari socks with a logo, you just buy them at Ferrari. That's not what we do. We'll have something inspired from the car, and we don't aim to be official merchandise because that will limit our creativity. Okay, so that's one of the issues. Yeah, we have some collaborations that make sense. For example, with the Lotus Classic team that supported us from the beginning, from Le Mans, the organization. But the big brands, I don't think that makes much sense to work with them because if not, it will be a merchandise brand. We can produce socks for them if they want, but it doesn't make much sense on our collection.
Yeah, and I saw that we ordered the Wins socks, the purple ones, when they won their class back last year or the year before, rather. I could see that there's always the potential. And that's also why, some people are like, well, why don't they make a Golf R sock? And I'm like, well, what would that look like? It would be blue with an R logo. Yeah. That's all it would be. It wouldn't be that exciting. In some of the newer cars, I think it's actually harder harder to pull inspiration from more modern cars because the designs are more sleek. They're not using more outlandish patterns like they did in the 80s and even in the 90s, where they wanted to get your attention with the plaids and the tartans and etc. But what would you say are some of the top trending, most popular designs at Heel Tread outside of the ones you mentioned, like the E30 and the GTI and things like that?
Well, the Lotus Senna's car with the camel logo, it's the Lotus 99T. It's pretty popular right now. Airplanes are picking up. Spitfire, Mustang, Corsair socks are really, really selling. I think everyone who likes cars like airplanes. People like airplanes like cars. If it has an engine, if it makes a lot of noise, I think people will always love it. And they are such iconic and classic patterns that it works. Let me pull out some interesting stats from our sales from last month. The 49 socks, also from Lotus, classic livery. The Senna socks inspired by the helmets. Okay, the Alpha 155 socks that I really love with the serpent there. They are really, really cool.
I have those too.
Yeah, those are really cool. We launched the Eminence Lancia 037. It was a very rare car, and we got permission from the owner to do his car with the license plate and everything. So
that's awesome.
It's good. And he got some socks. So that's a lot of fun. We got customers with crazy car collection in the millions. They just reach out and say, hey, do you want to do this car? Or just they send me a picture with the socks and the car, and I say, oh, that's not real. Cars in the millions. And actually, that's one of the coolest things of working in this brand is the attention and the care that the fans or customers, whatever you want to call it, give us. It's really, really cool. People that love their cars with impressive car collection, or just a simple car that just tweaked in his garage for years and years. They reach out and say, hey, can you do the sock inspired on this model? Do you have that one? Or just send us the pictures riding the car. So it's so cool. It's very, very interesting.
So what's some of the strangest inspiration, really odd requests that people have made of Heel Tread to say, hey, like you're saying, can you make this? What are, some of those top things that you're like, well, I don't know that we could ever do that, or something that people are constantly asking for that hasn't been made yet?
There's a crazy fan of ours that was spamming our social media every freaking day, just asking for Maserati socks. And doing a Maserati is not that easy because they are so sleek. I love Maseratis; they're beautiful, but to have the details that we needed, and we cannot do just the logo on that. We never did it. It's on our plan. We will do the Maserati MC12 this year. Okay, it's on our list. And I think it's one of the coolest ones, and the colors are really great. And a lot of Opel. I don't know if Opel is a German brand. Crazy Opel fans from Germany didn't just ask us for a hot hatch from the 70s and very rare Opels, and that's a big community. And
I could see a Manta. I could see some of the Opel rally cars, like the Cadet, the GTE, and things like that.
Yeah. Crazy. A lot of Opel fans, and
especially the Cadet, because didn't Walter Rural run one of those before Group B got big?
We actually have some Audi Quattro socks signed by Walter Rural.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Yeah. Well,
so I wanted to ask you about that
nice.
Since you brought it up. You guys chose the S1 livery, right? Or the E2, they call it in some circles. Why not the actual Audi sport colors, which were brown, red, and gray?
It's the IMSA car. It has the same colors. It's the R5. If you go to our website and you go for R5 socks, R5 GTO socks. But actually here in Europe, the other one is a lot more famous, the yellow one.
Interesting, because even Michel Mouton drove a black car for 1 year as well. So that was another pattern that they had, back then. It's lesser known. But I was just curious, like what the decision process is. Obviously, starting with the most popular ones makes the most sense. And then do you guys feel like it's necessary to do variations on the theme and have other versions of similar periods? Or do you want to just have one iconic moment and move on and have tons of variation?
It's always a personal thing. For me, the Audi Quattro is the yellow one. The other one is a secondary livery, let's say. So for us, it was really immediate to do this one. As long as there's interest and if the car has a cool story behind it, we can do everything. The Eminence Lancia 037, he never won anything. But it was so different, and we had access to the driver. We did the Minardi also. We had the contact with the pilot that won Grand Prix on it. It's not directly connect with the sportive results of the car or with the number of fans. If there's a cool story behind it, we'll probably do it.
So are you open to a couple suggestions while we're talking?
Yeah, sure.
All right, hear me out. I'm thinking Alitalia, because I bought the ST185 socks going, that's close enough, and I could get away with it unless you're a real petrolhead. So something Alitalia Stratos related.
We actually did the first edition of the Stratos that was not so related with Alitalia. It was a more abstract, and redone it. And now it's really, really cool. Yeah, it's one of our top sellers.
You'll make my sister.
Alitalia is a must. Is a must-have. Yeah.
Well, you'll make my sister very happy then. The other one, since you mentioned black socks, I was thinking about the Sonax Mercedes 190E, the Evo 2.
We had it, but it was not such a big seller, and we discontinued it. But we had it.
Oh, see, it's. I hate to say, it's a lot like Blip Shift. You got to be there at the right time, and then designs appear and disappear.
Yeah, it's the W201 socks.
Yeah,
we had it.
Past tense. If you're going black socks, like I said. Now, I would also add, I would love to see a DeLorean sock, because gray, there's not really too many gray socks in the catalog, but not a Back to the Future one, right? A actual DeLorean.
We have the Back to the Future one, yeah. And it's actually so cool. There's a car gathering in Germany only with movie cars. And we have a picture. The socks have the dates and everything like to the Back to the Future one. And they have a replica, and we have a picture of the socks. So cool. I think you can. There's an Instagram post about it recent. You can check that out.
And on behalf of someone else in the organization, we were talking about this before the show. And I said, it would be really cool to have some Giugiaro or Ital design inspired socks. And then she chimed up, and everybody's going to know who this is. She chimed up and went, Fiat Panda. And I'm like, okay. A lot of people don't realize. Pin that car. So Giugiaro would be really cool. If there's anything that you could do there, Ital design, that was awesome. Obviously, he's famous for the Lancia Delta, the Scirocco, the Rabbit, the DeLorean. I mean, he's pinned so many cars over the years. Now, is there any talk about maybe US-based motorsport coming to heel tread? Let's say NASCAR. Is there anything you guys can do there?
Yeah, it's a shame. We did a big collection of NASCAR cars. The Tide one, the four most famous, and they were not big sellers, even in the US. I don't know if maybe NASCAR fans are not more classic petrol heads, but it wasn't a big success. The success, actually, we discontinued all of them, and the socks were really, really cool.
So do you have a section of the website where you can see the archive socks, like designs that are no longer in production, that people could say added to a wish list, and maybe you get an idea of what they would be interested in, look at those trends?
Well, that could be interesting. That could be a cool idea. Yeah, that's cool. We have a lot of them, because if not, we have just too many socks available, and it would be very complicated to shop on the website. We would have more than 200 designs. Actually, we have about 150 now. It's just too complicated. But we can do that. That's a cool idea. We'll just archive, and we have a lot of them cool ones that we'd like to relaunch for limited editions or something like that. There's always will to do it. Yeah.
If you're giving me the option to click and say, let me know when this becomes available, you tally that up and you get 100, 200 people saying, I really want these NASCAR socks. And suddenly it's like, well, we should probably make these and make them available. As we mentioned at the beginning of the episode, Heel Tread is celebrating its 4th anniversary. And we've been following you guys for years. And you can check out our Instagram to see examples of GTMers actually wearing Heel Tread apparel and et cetera. And in the last 2 years, you guys have obviously very quickly moved from automobiles and motorsports into motorcycles. That came very fast. And then now airplanes. So what's next?
Well, for us, as long as it has an engine and we can rev it or just go full throttle, we'll do it. I think we launched our first boat, a Riva boat. It makes sense. It has a Lamborghini engine, so it makes total sense. But I think we'll explore more the airplanes and all cool cars that really work and that people appreciate it. So there's many cool airplanes that we can do. We'll not do airliners and TWA stocks and things like that. Doesn't make any sense. No Pan Am, no nothing like that. We have an impressive collection of other military vehicles that make sense and cool stuff. We launched the American and British Icon specs. They have a tank, a 4x4, an airplane, and a fighter and a bomber. So they are really, really cool. You have the Jeep Willys socks. And I think we'll go more that way, and maybe some crazy, a little bit off the charts thing, but we are still thinking. I think that the big plan for now is getting into underwear, sunglasses that could be really cool. But in the socks and maybe polos or t-shirts, I don't know. But we have a big list of cars that we want to do. And the fans ask for it. So
you mentioned earlier about other ideas and tips, and now you said again, underwear and polo shirts and sunglasses. But what about watches?
I had that idea. I'm a big watch fan. I have a cool watch collection. I would spend all my money on cars and watches.
100%. I'm in agreement with you there.
I thought about it, and it's actually not that complicated and interesting. The thing is, it will be always inspired in an Omega Speedmaster or a Rolex sub. And I don't know how could we do it.
Outside of watches, that would be really cool. And right up your guys' alley would be watch bands inspired by cars.
Yeah, it could be cool. Yeah, to do a more interesting or more in-depth watch bands. I'm a big fan of NATO stripes, and they're really inexpensive to buy. I have a big collection, and it just changes your watch every day. So
exactly.
Really cool.
And so a matching heel tread watch band to go with your socks, partner it up, and you keep your watch the same. Now everybody's standardized 20 millimeter, 22 millimeter with the quick release. It takes like 2 seconds to change your watch band. And I went out of my way with Fossil to buy a watch. At the time, they were kind of positioning it that it was like a Golf livery 911 style. And I was like, I got to have that. Even if I don't want the watch, I need the watch band. But so that'd be something else to do. And I think that would actually sell really well. And you could do a combo. And now you have this matching thing to go with it. So something to think about,
Yeah, thanks. It's a very cool tip.
I've given it some thought. But so let's talk about other brands, sister brands to Heel Tread that people might not know about. I was digging around and I noticed on the website recently, there's curatorsocks.com. What's that all about?
Actually, Curator, our office manager, Madalena, she's a big art fan. And what we rebranded our company to be a company that caters to passions. So her biggest passion is art. So we did a sock brand inspired by all the famous artworks. And we launched in February last year, and it worked out really, really well. Not as good as Heel Tread. I think the petrolheads are more possessive on that way than art guys. And in July last year, me and João are also big music fans. We launched stereo socks. It's inspired by the coolest album covers. It doesn't need to be the album that sells more records or most famous, but we do socks inspired on the coolest album covers.
Like Depeche Mode's Violator album, right? That would make sense as a sock. Beautiful. Right?
Yeah, well, it's really, really cool. It's a black sock with only the flower, and we did it in a really special way. They're really cool.
Exactly. And I showed my wife the Curator socks because that's more her style. And she was like, I didn't know they did this. And I'm like, yeah, I think you need to order some, or at least I know what I'm getting her for Christmas this year. That's for sure.
Yeah. Really good.
So, as we kind of wrap up our thought here, is there anything else you want to talk about that I didn't ask or didn't mention? No,
it's been terrific to be involved. It's like paying us to work because all the contacts that we made are always big petrol heads. People are really, really nice. We've been asked to visit the McLaren head office. Actually, then COVID appeared, but we have an invitation to do the full tour. Every time there's a race, we can get free invitations and go to the paddock and talk to everyone. I was sitting down on a Ferrari 250 GTO, the one in the millions. They were going racing it in Portugal. The guy was so nice, and we visited. It showed us all the car collection that they had. A lot of cool stuff, and I just want to thank the community because it's been so cool these past 4 years to be a part of it. Yeah.
And again, you're spreading that enthusiasm about motorsports, about automobiles. They are more than just appliances getting us from point A to point B. There's a lot of art, there's a lot of science, engineering, et cetera, involved. And so this way, we get to wear our passion. We get to take it out there on the streets and show people, hey, check out this cool design. Or you get that question, what is that? What are you wearing exactly? Where did you get that? Well, I got it over at Heel Tread, and you definitely got to check it out. So with that in mind, any shout outs, promotions, special discounts, anything you want to tell the world about coming up here in our holiday season?
Yeah, we actually are going to have a big Black Friday promotion, as everyone does. It's going to start at the end of November, so you can subscribe to our newsletter and be the first to get that information. And a lot of cool things coming up until the end of the year. We are launching also sports socks and knee-high socks. You can wear them to when you go to the gym or to do whatever you want. Or if you are a guy who needs high socks because you have cold in the winter.
Are these sports socks going to be thicker?
Yeah, thick socks. Yeah,
I'm gonna have
actually
to
crew socks, like the American style socks. We are going to launch first a small collection to test it, and it's going to be mid-October. I think they're going to be available on the promotion for Black Friday also.
I know exactly what I'm ordering.
Yeah, good. There's always a 10% discount on your first order. So you can test the brand and see if you like the socks. If you don't like the socks, you just can return them. There's no problem there. You subscribe to our newsletter, you will receive then a confirmation and a discount code for your first order of 10% off. Yeah, I have a special discount code for all the fans of Break Fix. It's Break Fix 2021. So you just put the code on checkout on the checkout and you'll get 20% off.
That's
but
awesome.
It's not
Thank you.
not cumulative with other promotions. So when we run the Black Friday promotion, you cannot use it. Sorry.
Okay. Good to know. But we very much appreciate that. So if you haven't ordered Heel Tread socks yet, this is your opportunity to get in on that and check out the designs and really show off your motorsports pride and your enthusiasm about different brands or things that you really geek out upon. So 20% off. Thank you very much, Gonçalo. That's very, very generous. Thank you for that. Yeah. Designed and produced in Portugal, Heel Tread uses seamless toe knitting to create a sock without any stitches. 80% combined cotton, 17% polyamide, and 3% elastane. Every sock is beautiful inside and out. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to drop Gonçalo a line at info@heeltread.com or follow them on social media at Heel Tread. That's HEEL TREAD. And more importantly, if you have an idea for a new design or want to create the perfect gift, send them an email with a design or inspiration you'd like them to work with at design@heeltread.com. So, Gonçalo, I cannot thank you enough for coming on the show. I mean, like I said, this is super awesome because as petrolheads, we do try to find a way to share our enthusiasm with others, whether it be shoes, watches, socks, hoodies, all these kinds of things where we want to show off and get people talking about, well, tell me about this car. Tell me about this race. Why is that important? And then we get excited about it. We get to share that passion with others. And for us here at GTM, that's super important because that's part of our mantra. That's part of what we do is to continue to spread motorsports enthusiasm. So as much as you thanked us, we want to thank you for being part of motorsports history, being part of the automotive world, and being able to share this with everyone.
Thank you. It's been my pleasure. It's been a hell of a ride from the last 4 years. Yeah.
Absolutely. And congratulations and good luck on the next 4 years and beyond. And we're looking forward to all those new designs. Sign me up.
Sure. Thank you.
If you like what you've heard and want to learn more about GTM, be sure to check us out on www.gtmotorsports.org. You can also find us on Instagram at Grand Touring Motorsports. Also, if you want to get involved or have suggestions for future shows, you can call or text us at 202-630-1770 or send us an email at crewchief@gtmotorsports.org. We'd love to hear from you.
Hey everybody, Crew Chief Eric here. We really hope you enjoyed this episode of Break Fix, and we wanted to remind you that GTM remains a no annual fees organization, and our goal is to continue to bring you quality episodes like this one at no charge. As a loyal listener, please consider subscribing to our Patreon for bonus and behind-the-scenes content, extra goodies, and GTM swag. For as little as $2.50 a month, you can keep our developers, writers, editors, casters, and other volunteers fed on their strict diet of Fig Newtons, gummy bears, and Monster. Consider signing up for Patreon today at www.patreon.com/GT Motorsports. And remember, without fans, supporters, and members like you, none of this would be possible.